Welcome back to Photos with Yanni. Yesterday I was approached by a friend of mine. Her name is Anisi. She's a wonderful young photographer, and she was wondering how she can add snow overlays to some of her pictures. And I thought about it, and I was like, that's actually not that difficult to do if you got Photoshop. So after 10 minutes of Googling, I decided to make this video just to show her and you how easy it is to add a snow overlay to your picture using Photoshop. We're going to be using her original pictures. I'm going to drop her Instagram profile below. Check her out. She's an awesome photographer. And we're going to be using both Lightroom and Photoshop because I want to show you the workflow on how that's going to work. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into Lightroom and see how we can go ahead and edit those pictures. All right, here we are. We have all her pictures loaded up, and as you can see, she has 3 amazing images. Now, these images are all JPEGs, so it's worth to know that we're not going to be doing any further processing on them. I mean, this is a fantastic image. She's done a really good job capturing these images. The colors are perfect. The composition is great. I love basically what she's done. This is a perfect picture. It may be a little bit too bright, but the snow is gonna look fantastic on it. Let's go ahead and start with this one. So this is going to be a two-parter. Essentially, we're going to be showing you this photo, and then we're going to import it to Photoshop, and from there we're going to see how easy it is to actually add snow and whatever other elements we want to add. I kind of feel I want to start with this one though. So let's go ahead and do it. So Anisi shot this on an iPhone 11 with a dual camera. One over 310 is the shutter speed, f8. That's why you have that beautiful bokeh, and ISO 32. I mean, don't put down cell phones because they can push out some amazing images. So now out of the photo in Lightroom, and this is using Lightroom Classic, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and send this picture to be processed in Photoshop. The way that I do it is edit in Photoshop, or I use the shortcut, which is Command E. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments. We don't want to edit the original. It's gonna create a copy anyway, so let's go ahead and do that. Edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments. Now, Photoshop is firing up. There we go. And now this is the basic panel of Photoshop. It's pretty basic. So let's get to it. All right. The main thing to remember about Photoshop is that everything is in layers. So this is the background layer. We're not going to be doing anything to that, but I want to show you exactly what my thought process is. What's worth to know in Photoshop is, like I said, everything is in layers. So we have the background image, like so, and then what we want to add is we want to add a layer of snow in front of it and a layer of snow behind it. This is going to make it much more believable. This is going to take us a whole grand total of about 5 minutes. Now, the homework that you need to do is literally open up Google and search for snow Photoshop brushes free and just download a package. I mean, it doesn't cost anything. You double click on them and it installs them straight in Photoshop. It's a process that literally takes maybe 30 seconds to do so. And not just for snow. You can apply the same thing to either clouds, lightning, fog, rain elements, whatever you want to do. And I'm going to show you how I've already downloaded a bunch of brushes, so I'm going to show you how we're going to use this download and those brushes to create this awesome snow effect in Photoshop. All right, here we are back into it. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a new layer. New layer. That's it. And then we're going to create another new layer. All we need is just literally 2 layers. So we're going to layer 1. Layer 1, we're going to use it, we're going to treat it as our background layer. So we're going to go into brushes right here, which I already have it selected. And And let's figure out what snow brush we want to use. I like this one, and I also like this one. So what's lacking right now on this one, we can even do one more like that. What's lacking right now is that it looks okay, but it's not believable. So what do we do about that? We're going to go under our filter, and on blur we're going to select Gaussian blur, and see, there we go. That is the background. So we're going to do it maybe around, let's make it around 16. The other one we're going to put in the front. So now this is going to treat it like a out of focus, like a bokeh. Now we're going to go to the layer 2. We're going to select a different snow effect. Like maybe here, 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 and here. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go under filter, blur, Gaussian blur. This, we're going to make it a little bit more intense. So basically the two filters, one is for the foreground, one is for the background. We end up with an image like that, and it's a little bit much more believable. It's like you're sitting in front of the snowstorm. What you want to do is the background layer of snow, you want to give it more Gaussian blur, so it can be more out of focus, so it can be more part of the background. The snow that's supposed to be falling in front of your subject, you want to make it more defined, and that's where it comes in. Let's try it with another image. Gonna go back into Lightroom. Let's try it with this one. Going into Photoshop again. There we go. Let's dock this right here. And we're going to create another new layer. So let's treat layer 1 first. Let's go in our brushes. Let's see. Oh, it's going to be nice. First, and another one, and another one. Now you can also, if you don't want that, you can also stretch the layer of snow however you want it to be. So we can move that little speck out of her eye. There you go. Now again, we're going to go under filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and we can treat that as background snow, but since it was so tiny, let's treat that as foreground snow. Make it a little bit more defined. Perfect. And now let's go to the back layer. Get another brush. Let's try this one. There's some heavy snow going on here. Let me take some of those out. There we go. Let's stretch it just a little bit. Beautiful. And now we're going to go back into filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Like this. There we go. How cool is that? Now all we got to do is save it. And if we save it, what's it going to do? Bring it back into Lightroom. And see, it's actually going to create a copy right in front of your eyes. So you have the original image here. I'm sorry, the original image here. And the copy right here. There we go. That's the original image here, and that's what we created. Now, what I may do is I may bring down the exposure a little bit, contrast it up, Alternatively, we can go back into the Photoshop to the first image, and if we save it, going back into Lightroom, you're going to see that it's going to generate a whole other copy. So this is what we made from this original. This is what we made from this original. So as you can see, the whole trick really lies with that Gaussian blur. That's where your bread and butter is. You can add all kinds of cool effects there, and not just snow. You can do fog, you can do mist, you can do rain, you can do lights, you can do whatever. And Gaussian blur is essentially the effect that you apply to give it the illusion that it was always there. As always, thank you guys for your support. Like and follow the channel, share it, and I'm going to be working on a video for Lightroom. All my presets are below in the description. Many thanks to Photography Beginners Group on Facebook and Radio FM Andromeda. Until next time, we'll see you guys. This is Photos with Yanni, signing off.